All right, family. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys exactly how to accomplish this actual effect. And you guys can go wild with it, but I'm going to show you guys the fundamentals. Now, I'm going to hit play right here. And the first section, you will see that the logos are rotating in the background. And the way we're going to go ahead and do that is we're going to acknowledge it here on Snappic. And this is going to be the first time the effect kicks in. So it's not on the first part, it's on the second part. And when I click on this, you'll see that it's the background effect. I applied right here. Everything that I'm saying, I'm going to be going over step by step so you guys will never feel lost during this tutorial, okay? So we're going to hit play again. And then now the logos, intentionally, I put them in the front, the foreground. So how does that look on Snappic while we're building that? I'll show you exactly how that looks. So that was the first one, but now we're on the second one. The second one comes in right here. If I click on it, you guys can see that it's no longer in the background, but not on the foreground before masking, but after. So you see that it's set to the foreground, but it's after the masking, and I set it right over here. We're gonna go ahead and continue playing the video. And then within a few seconds, you're going to see that this time around, it's within the actual subject, which I think this is a pretty amazing effect. So how does that look? Well, we'll go ahead and check it out. It'll be right here coming up. And then we're going to click on it. And now it's the foreground, but it's before masking. Okay, so we're going to go into all that together. In fact, let's go ahead and start this from scratch so that you guys can follow step by step and have this experience for your client. So I'm going to hit save changes. Now, I want us to pretend that, in fact, we're going to follow this because I'm always all over the place. So the client's logo on Canva. So what I mean by that is once a client sends you their logo, and my client's logo is going to be right in documents, and I put the client's logo right in here. They send me two logos, so it's basically a company that's sponsored by another company, so we want to use these two logos. Now, as an entrepreneur, photo booth business owner, I want to make my life as easy as possible, and so I don't want to take up too much time doing all kinds of crazy stuff on Canva. So the easiest way to do this is let's move the logos over to booth.motion. Once you guys are in booth.motion, come over to where it says 360 backgrounds. And you guys will see that there's different types of templates for this right here. So the one that I want to do is I definitely want to use two logos right here, right? So if I click on this one, this is the effect that I want. So I'm going to walk you through the steps of doing this here first, okay? So it's 360 background logo where it says theme right here on the left side. We can do partial or full. If we do partial, it's going to look a little something like this right here, right? Which is, I think, still pretty cool because it frees up a lot of space. So for this video, what I like to do is I like to try this one out. So we're going to move forward with this one. And right here where it says optional text, these are the sections in which it will appear on the side. So I'm going to leave this alone. I'm not interested in adding any text. If you are, that's totally cool. Now notice it's going from right to left. We can change that. We can go to partial and we can switch the actual way it's spinning and rotating in back of the subject. So you guys will see now that it's this way right here. Cool. So either one is totally fine. I kind of like the other one, so I'm going to use this one right here. And then I'm going to go to next. So earlier when I showed you that folder, we're going to go ahead and choose file. We're going to look for that folder in documents, client's logo, and we're going to enter the first one. Okay. So this one has already been inserted, and I'm going to go over to finish just like this. Second one, I'm going to use this second logo. Okay. Hit finish. Before I hit finish, depending on the size of the logo, if I go to fill right here, it'll make it much larger. If I go to contain, it'll give it a certain size. If I want to do it manually, then I can kind of have it set to like the actual location in which I think it'll look best. And quite honestly, I'll go ahead and leave it right there because I think that looks pretty cool. So I'm going to go hit finish right here. And the next thing that I think is pretty amazing is that we can go to generate the free preview, which means that we can send the client this preview and the client will get really excited. It'll be watermarked, but showing them the preview allows you to make any revisions before you guys commit to the actual purchase. One thing to know, guys, is this is a customization template using AI segmentation, and this is a unique production. So I definitely want you guys to really consider upselling this feature. Okay, so basically it's going to look like this. And quite honestly, I'm pretty happy with that. It's not exaggerated. So I'm going to go to download, right? So if I go to download, now I can send that to the client. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to the cart. And then what'll happen is once you guys go to checkout, you guys can pay PayPal, pay with card. I'm going to pay with PayPal. And once again, guys, I'm using this specific website. The reason why is because you can do this different ways, but I want to do this as fast as possible. I don't want to spend too much time. Okay, so it says two logos, background, carousel, square logos. It's waiting. So what's happening, it's kind of rendering in the background. So whatever systems they have in place, it's taking uh it's taking its process right now, and you'll see that it's at 4%, and the order status is happening right over here. I'm gonna leave this running in the background. You and I are gonna get started on starting an event on the Snappic. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with a new. So say for example, you guys already got to this far, right? Because most of you guys already been in the business for a while that purchased this masterclass. So I'm going to select a brand new video. I'm going to go to video here, and then I'm going to go to select. So you guys can, if you guys have any saved, I have a bunch of them saved. But for the sake of the video, I'm going to assume you guys don't have any saved ones. And I'm just going to go ahead and go to 360 booth. And I'm going to select, let's see, I'm going to work with fast, slow glitch. Just going to grab that one. Now, I'm going to go with portrait 1080 by 1920. And as far as the frame rate, when you guys do 20 to 30 frames per second, that works pretty well. When you use 40 to 60 frames per second, it looks smoother. But when they show it on social media, when they upload it to Instagram, because it's 60 frames per second, it's going to compress it. And I don't want the video compressed more than it is already compressed. So I'm going to go to normal. Right here, the overlay, as you guys already know, you can definitely select an overlay of your choice, but I want it to be nice, open, and airy because we're only going to focus on those rotating logos. So I'm not going to actually enter an overlay, insert an overlay like I usually do because remember, guys, we're basically selling the rotating logo. So the recording is going to be 10 seconds. Then I'm going to go to timeline. So this is where I'm going to take my time with you guys because I don't want you guys to get lost. Now, right now, given this by default as a preset, the duration is 16.67 seconds long, this entire thing right here. Ideally, you would want it to be closer to the 30-second mark. That way, the client gets more bang for the buck, and for every subject that gets on the platform, they get a video that's, close to 25, 28 seconds long. So we'll play with that as we go. Now, one of the things I like doing is when I start a video, I like starting the video at normal speed. And I'll go from 0 to 1 at normal speed because I want it to rotate and then I want the slow-mo to get applied. All right. The second thing is going to be the second segment right here. And if I started this one from 0 to 1, I want this one to pick up where I left off. So I'm going to go to 1, and then I'm going to go to 2. And this time I want the slow-mo to kick in at half the speed. Or you guys can do 1/3. For the sake of the video, we'll leave it at 1/3. Okay, so that's left already at 1/3. And this will be a good place to put the logos in. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go to build a custom effect right here. Then we're going to go to add effect. From here, what I want you guys to do is go over to AI segmentation. All right, so now we are here, and the next step is we're going to go check on what's happening. We are at 70%. So we're going to have to wait just a tad bit. In the meantime, let's go ahead and check out the rest of the things that we're going to be covering here. So for the 360 floating logo AI segmentation, we move the logo to booth.motion. All right, now we're creating the effect here on Snappic. That's exactly where we're at right now. When we're done here, we're going to step into my laboratory, aka my garage, and we're going to optimize the iPhone and the camera settings. I'm going to go over a few things with you guys so that you know exactly what the settings mean and how they affect your production. After that, lighting, 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 and I wrote it 3 times because it's all about the lighting, baby. So we'll go ahead and also address that, and then I'm going to go over the list of accessories that I am using keep in mind, guys, that even though I want this production to be a premium production, I also want to simplify everything from software to hardware. This is why exactly I'm using this method right here, because I don't want to go and do anything that's too crazy. I want there to be a good, optimized, efficient workflow to every single event that I do. Okay. From that point on, we're going to move over to the photo booth professional glam photos. I'm going to show you guys the backdrop distance. We're going to go over to camera settings. This is going to be a huge part of the masterclass is the camera settings, in addition to the picture profile settings on your Canon camera. If you guys are shooting with the Sony or a different manufacturer, profile settings are usually very similar. So you guys will grasp the concept and you guys will end up going to get like great photos. I'm also going to include the video confessional booth because I want to make sure that you guys are setting this up properly on Snappic, or if you guys are using booth.events, booth.events as well, okay? And I'm going to show you the microphone settings, the camera settings, and then on top of that, this is more like a bonus, okay? This is a bonus because it's like polishing the vocals. There's a way you can guys actually polish the vocals, so I'm going to show you guys how to do that exactly too. So now we are here. The order has been complete. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to hit download on the main MP4 and then the clipping mask as well. I'm going to download. So it's two different parts to it. And I want to make sure you guys use them properly. So if we go to our downloads right over here, you'll see that we have a black one. And then you guys will see that we have a colored one. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump over back to Snappic and let's go ahead and add these. And I'm going to show you exactly how we're going to do it. So right now, I want the background effects. So once you guys have made it this far, the background effects, that's the first thing that I want to kick in. So we're going to go to build a custom effect. We're going to go to add effect right here. And once again, we're going to go to AI. And then we're going to go to overlay. And the overlay is right here. So the overlay, guys, remember we have two of them, right? So the clipping mask is the white and black, and the overlay is going to be the colored one. So we're going to go here, and this is the colored one right here. So we're going to go ahead and upload the colored one, the one that has color. And then right over here, we're going to do the white one and leave that as is, normal. That's perfectly fine. I'm going to hit save. From there, I'm going to hit save and then hit save again. So really quick before we move forward, let's see if we're successful so far with our first input. I'm going to go to preview timeline and I want to see the 360, see how it's coming out. So the first second is normal and then we slowed it down. And in addition to that, we added the AI segmentation with the rotating logos. Let's see what we get as far as the visual goes. And I blow it up, hit play, boom. So that's exactly what I wanted. These other extra things that are going, we're going to go ahead and get rid of those because quite honestly, it's not my liking. And remember, I want to customize it the way that I want to customize it. So just wanted to confirm that we did this the right way. Okay. So when we moved on here, there's already a setting. So what we want to do is want to delete that one. Come over here, delete any other ones. We're deleting all these presets that it came with because we're going to use our own style. Okay. So far, guys, we've added one layer of AI segmentation to the second section that ranges from 1 to 2 seconds, and that slowed it down. For the next one, I'm going to click right over here. We ended up at 2, so I'm going to start at 2. So let's go ahead and start this at 2 right here. And then from 2 to 4, we're going to go ahead and do normal speed. Okay, we're going to do normal speed, and then we're going to come over right over here. Then we're going to start at 4. Okay, and then from 4 to, let's say, from 4 to 6, we're going to slow things down to half the speed. All right. And then we're going to pick up at 6. Then from 6 right over here. I'm gonna go to 6 to 7. We'll do regular speed. The reason I don't really do fast forward too often is because it might miss someone's face or eye contact. So even at 1, it still looks okay because the armor is already spinning at a certain rate. All right, next one. We stopped at 7, so we are starting at 7 right here. From 7 to 8, we can slow things down again. We'll do half the speed like that. Okay, we're gonna start at 8 because we ended at 8. That. And then from 8 to we'll do from 8 to 9. We'll do even slower. We'll go a quarter, 1/4. That's what we'll do. Okay. And then the last one is gonna end it at 9. So the last one that ended at 9. So we're gonna go to 10. From 10 to 9, we'll go right there. Okay. So we're at 22 seconds. Of course, if I go slower, it'll bump up the rate. But for the sake of the video, we're just gonna go ahead and stick to this. Now, in the beginning, we added one layer, and then we have another layer here for half the speed after that. And then we have the second, third, fourth section right here. We have it slow down, and then so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do is for this part where it slows down by half the speed right here, we're going to go ahead and build a custom effect. And this time we're actually going to put the letters in the front. So we're going to go to add effect. We're going to go to add AI segmentation. And this time we're going to do before masking. All right. So we want to make sure that it comes up to the front after before the masking. So same thing, guys. We're going to go to build a custom effect right here. And then we're going to go to overlay. I'm going to take those again. So remember, the overlay has to be colored and the optional clipping one has to be black and white. And that's uploading for us right now. Let's confirm that. Okay, white, colored, boom, exactly what we wanted. And then we're going to hit save. And then we have the 1 second, and then we have 2 seconds, and then the last one we have not this last one, but the second to the last, we have 7. This slows down pretty much. I would like to add it here as well. So I'm going to go to build custom effect, add effect. And if you guys are following along and you guys know exactly where to go now, you guys are fast learners. AI segmentation. This one's going to be after masking. Build a custom effect, add effect. And then we're going to overlay. And then once again, right here, colored, black and white on this side. So colored and then black and white on that side. And then we'll hit save. Save again. And then we're just left with this last part. Okay, you guys can add whatever you guys want. I'm going to hit save, but before I do that, let's preview the timeline to make sure that everything we added so far meets the expectation and the visuals that we're trying to go for here. All right, let's play this video. Very nice. That kicked in. Right, that's on the actual body. Good. And that's in the front. What you guys can do is we can also go here and then add it to the back. So right here on the very, very last one, we can make it a little bit slower, which is going to increase the duration. Go to building custom effect. Same thing, we're going to go to AI segmentation and add the background again. So go here, here, and then the overlay. The same thing that we've been doing. That way this is heavy branding. Go to preview. And what we'll do, we'll just fast forward the video towards the very end so you guys can see it. You guys can always add the boomerang effect and make it go back. So that's a pretty cool effect. I've done it in a couple of my videos. But it really depends on how you guys want to do it. What I wanted to show you was the parts that I feel were not too clear and a bit tricky. I wanted to show you the good stuff. Okay, so we'll go ahead and fast forward here. And before the video ends, we have it in the background as well. Fantastic. All right, I'm going to go to close and I'm going to go to save. All right, so this one's called fast slow glitch. And we can just call this the Masterclass one. And hit save. Now, before we walk into the lab, there's a few things that I want to cover with you guys that are very important. Now, as this saves, there's some information that I feel is going to be very helpful for you guys, and I'm going to go ahead and show it to you. When you guys are on Snappic, you will notice that when we go into settings, you're going to see decimals like this. Now, I want you guys to understand what exactly this is. So we are shooting in slow-mo, which means we're shooting at 120 frames per second. Ideally, if you're doing the 180-degree rule, it'll be 240. But because it's slow motion, we can stick to 240 as far as our shutter speed goes. Or because it's slow-mo, we can match it to 120 and it'll still look smooth. But from practicing, I can tell you that if we stick to the 180-degree rule right here and use 240, which on the Snappic application, it'll be closer to 0042, the video is going to come out amazing. You can also get away with 0.0083, which would be 120 as far as the shutter speed goes. So these are the things that I'm going to include right here. I'm going to make an attachment for you guys, but this is so easy to remember because truly you're only playing between these two numbers. You don't want to go anything slower because remember guys, we're shooting videos that are in slow motion and not standard 24 to 30 frames per second, not even 60. We want to stick to the 120 as far as the settings on our cameras and on our phones. Cool. So now the fun part, let's go ahead and go into the lab in which I'm going to be covering some of those details I mentioned earlier. And yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it because now it's time to optimize our iPhone and camera settings. So let's go, baby. This is going to be a lot of fun because we're going to go over some basics and then we're going to jump into the advanced things that are really going to help you guys get that high quality video. We're going to start off with the camera, okay? So this is a DSLR camera. This is a Canon R100. Most of you guys already have this model in your arsenal. So there's a few things we're going to change within the settings, okay? We're going to go to movie quality here. And then we're going to go to high frame rate. And we're going to go to enable. So now we enabled the high frame rate and then we're going to go to menu. Then we're going to go here. We're going to continue moving forward. We're going to go picture style, fine detail. And then for the AF method, that's going to be the autofocus. We want it to track the face. So we'll go OK, eye detection enabled. Now keep in mind that if you guys are using a Canon R100, the autofocus isn't the greatest when using it in slow-mo. It works really well when you guys are using 4K or 1080p. But for slow-mo, it's not the greatest. However, you will get an extraordinary video. Next thing I'm going to do is if you guys pan out back a little bit, you'll see the setup that I have right here. It makes it really easy to work because now all I have to do is rotate like this, and now I am in portrait mode. Cool? All right, let's move on to the next thing. Now, once your camera is set up, I'm going to go ahead and back out so I can give you guys a really good introduction to this part here. Once your camera is set up, then what you'll do is you'll grab your USB cable from the top of the camera. You'll connect the last end of the cable to the phone. This is USB Type-C to Type-C. So I'm going to connect it to the phone. And then I'm going to go to configure camera. And then it'll pop up as an actual option here. Now, if you don't see the camera populate right here, simply just close the app. I'll close the app completely. I'll reopen the app. And these are just minor things because sometimes you want to troubleshoot and this is where you want to start. So now I'll come over to configure camera. My camera is connected to the phone and it took about maybe less than 10 seconds to actually acknowledge the camera. So I'm going to go with the Canon R100 and now it's connecting to my Canon R100. So the next thing we're going to do is, this is very important. If your image is, and I want you to keep the camera right here, Philip, on this screen, I'm going to walk over here. Can you actually see me on the phone like straight? Okay, if this isn't the case, guys, and I come out like upside down, then just play with these right here, the live rotation view right here, right? So I'm gonna stand over here. So on the phone screen, Philip, okay, so go ahead and press little rotations. You see little rotations there on the screen? No? You found it? Okay, hit the rotation until I come up like standing up straight. Got it, okay, so that's what you guys would have to do, just hit those rotators. Very important that you guys come over to image. Now, in image, it says autofocus during countdown. You can have that toggled on as well as autofocus during capture as well. We want to pay close attention to this next thing because this is what's going to really help create a nice video. When you guys go to video, you guys will notice that your ISO for video is going to range. What I like using is anywhere, depending on this light structure that we have going on right now, I want you guys to see that we have 1, 2, 3, a total of 4 lights. I'm going to show you what percentage I have these lights, and I'm also going to show you guys exactly how far you should consider keeping it from your arm. You want the light to be right here on the subject that's standing so that they steal the show and the spotlight is hitting them perfectly, and you're going to get a cinematic video, which you will see in a few seconds. So right over here for my ISO, you guys don't want to blow right past 3200. I would say start off around 800. For right now, I'm going to start off at 1600. And then for my aperture, 4.5 is the lowest we can do it at. So we're going to leave it at 4.5 so we let a lot of light inside. For the shutter speed, I want you guys to remember the video that we covered. In fact, I'll cover it again. Is for the video, you want to do a minimum of 250 because it's shooting at 120 frames per second. So you want to go with the 180-degree rule. So you want to double that so that it's at 250. Keep in mind, because it's a slow-mo video, you could do 1/160. But we're going to do 1/250 so you guys can, once again, get a really nice video. Now, for the white balance, we can leave that as is for now. Next thing, let's go over to processing. You'll notice that it says video rendering and background segmentation. For the video rendering, when we go to balance, if you guys have a phone that's, for example, like an iPhone 15, 16, you can definitely afford to go memory usage and go fast. If you guys have an older phone, you don't want your video to crash during the rendering process, so you might want to consider slow, safe mode. This is a standard iPhone 16 with an A18 chip. That's Alfred 18 chip. So I'm going to go to fast because my phone can actually pull that off given its internal memory and processing power. For background segmentation, it'll be performance quality. When you guys have this pop up, you'll see that it's fast, lower quality, balance, and slower, high quality. If you guys want to continue to get good consistency throughout the event, stick to the slower, higher quality. So I'm going to hit submit on the higher quality right there. That's good. We're going to come into these settings later right here so that I can show you guys what the ISO is going to do. So for example, right now, we're going back to the Canon R100. Then we're going over to image. We're shooting at 1600 for the ISO for this specific video. 4.5 and then 1/250. We're going to go start the booth video. The next thing I want you guys to note is this. Look how far I'm placing the actual light and these tripods from the actual phone, about a foot away. And the reason why is because if you guys allow this much space, then this means that your light will be closer to the subject. And what that means is you can keep the brightness a little bit lower without wasting your battery. If you have these bad boys far out, you're going to lose a lot of that concentration light, and you're going to have to bump up the settings on the brightness, and you're going to eat through your battery. So you want to keep this as close to the subject and closest to the arm as possible with enough safety distance between the two. Now, next thing I want to cover is if you guys come right over here, I'm going to turn this on, and when the display turns on, I'm going to show you exactly the settings that I have it at. And I'm going to go ahead and also link in the description, I'm going to link this item. Most of you guys have already picked this one up. I have it at 5,000 Kelvin. That's the temperature right now. That's a decent temperature. I like keeping it between there and 4,800. That's a little bit on the warmer side. So I'm going to switch it up to 3%. 3%. And then I'm going to aim it directly at the actual booth. And I'm going to bump it up right here like this. Okay, so this is how you guys are going to get a really clean video. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and do this video for you guys right now so that you guys can see the quality here. Okay, so I got the remote. Let me make sure that it's turned on. Yep, it's turned on. One thing that I left out, and I want to cover that with you guys, is you guys are probably wondering, David, can you please tell us more about your setup? I'm going to show you these parts, and I'm going to show you these parts individually, how they come together. Right now, the phone, this is as easy as just placing it right in here. The magnet will hold on to it. So this right here is efficient, and not just that, but it looks professional. We only have one cable. Now, when you guys are at an event, I can tell you that if you guys have an event and it's 3 hours long, take 4 batteries. Most likely you only need about 3 batteries, because this doesn't eat up the battery as fast. Just one thing to note, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and tap to start. I'm gonna start the video, and I'll go ahead and just be myself, right? And then in a few seconds, I'm gonna stop it so that you guys can see how fast the video is rendering. So if you guys come right over here, it's adding the video, meaning the camera is adding the video to the phone, and the phone is going to process that video. Now the first video, you'll notice, always takes a little longer, but now it's rendering. And remember, for the rendering we selected fast, it's rendering, guys, but keep in mind that this video is not an ordinary video. This video has a lot of AI segmentation, so there's a lot of processing that it has to go through, plus the time warps, which is like the slowdown, fast, and the boomerang. And so you're about to see that this could be done more or less, I think, within 20 seconds, which isn't bad at all. And if you have an M1 or something faster, it'll only be faster when it comes to the rendering part of the video. This video is going to be around 28 seconds long, which is a sweet spot. And I think your clients will love that. You don't want to have the video too short. So now this is the video over here we're playing. You guys will notice that the way the lights are set up, it hits the side of my face at moments. This is the cinematic, the filmic look we were looking for, because it really separates the quality from a standard phone. Now, if you guys are using just a phone and you guys don't have a camera to do this with yet, you can still get really good videos using your phone, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So if you guys just have a phone and you don't have a camera yet, I'm going to show you how I get really good videos just using my phone. But I'm going to be very honest with you and let you know that the sensor plus the lens that this camera uses will produce a better, higher quality, cooler looking video versus just your phone. However, a phone could give you a really good video. So this is what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to grab this cable, pull it out, and because we have a quick release plate, I can just pull out the whole thing. And now I'm good. I can actually go into my next setup. So I'll hit pause on this camera, grab my phone cage, and this is why I love using quick release plates, because now I just put this right in here like this, grab my phone, put my phone inside. I'll go ahead and just move to the side, just like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my camera guy, I'm going to have him stand on the platform for a few seconds. Most of you guys, and I see this on Instagram and it looks really crappy, and I'm using the word crappy because I'm being very blunt with you guys. When you guys use your back dual wide camera or your back ultra wide camera, your videos will not come out as clean as using your standard primary back camera. And I know about this because I used to fix iPhones, and I can tell you that the back camera is the one that's going to produce the best quality given its sensor size. Okay, so choose the back camera, and then on top of that, when you guys go to start the booth, what you always want to do, guys, if possible, keep your ISO at 100 or less. You'll be surprised how great the videos can come out with your iPhone if you keep your ISO below 100. So I'm going to keep it around right there, like 99. For my shutter speed, since I'm using a frame rate of around 250, 120, so if you do 0.04, that's equivalent to a shutter speed of 1/250. So I'm going to leave it like that. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is, if I go to processing, it'll just be standard. But one thing with your phone, what you can do is video stabilization. You can go over from standard to cinematic extended. I like using cinematic. If you guys want to make sure your videos don't come out too shaky, you can use cinematic or even bump it up to cinematic extended, but that's going to create too much of a delay in your video, and so that's something to note. In addition, I want you guys to make sure that your booth is stabilized on the ground properly. We're going to use cinematic. We're going to start the booth. We're going to do another video just like that. I'm going to have my camera guy go right in the middle, so I make sure that I'm going to be in frame when I go up. Go for it, Philip. All right, before we start the spin, 3 fingers slide up. You guys will have your menu to Snappic, okay? Remember, ISO under 100, and then my shutter speed 0.004. If you guys bump up your shutter speed to 0.8 right here, you'll be at the 120 frames per second. Versus the 200, and I think it's a 250. So we'll go right here back to 4, because you guys will see what I'm talking about in a few seconds. So let's go ahead and run the video. All right, same thing. And then we'll see how fast it processes. You guys come over to the camera. It's rendering. The speed isn't too bad. Usually for this type of setup, we'll have like 2 little lights and then the charging power bank attached to the phone. But for the sake of the video, I want to show you guys what's most important, and that's getting a higher quality video versus just having your phone set to automatic. All right, so this was, again, shot with the standard iPhone 16 with the current light that you guys seeing right now. Remember, it's a total of 4 lights. And now you guys know exactly how I have the lights set up. If you guys are taking this class, I don't ever want to see a video that's overexposed. What is an overexposed video? I think that's something that I should definitely address here in this masterclass. We're gonna do the same shot. We're using the same phone, we're using the same lighting conditions, but I'm gonna go ahead and do something different this time. We're gonna leave it on auto. All right, let's take that same video, but leave the settings on auto. Now, the reason I want to do auto is because most of you guys starting off are using auto and are having the lights really bright. It's almost blinding your subject. To a degree, it could work, but the manual settings are also going to dictate your output, how that video is going to look when it's finally processed. All right, you guys are going to see right away in this video that I'm overexposed. What does that mean? I'm coming a little on the brighter side. And I don't love it. It doesn't look professional in comparison to this next video that we did before. I'm gonna put them side by side so you guys will see for your very selves like which video looks better. It's all about the manual settings, and the lighting conditions that we have are perfect, but it's about setting up the right settings on the phone so that you guys can have a good video throughout the entire event. So I hope this video right here is gonna take your production to a different level. And as you guys can also see, the logos in the background are right on me, so that's working. If you guys have more than one person on the booth will acknowledge the other subjects as well, so that effect will still work. Just wanted to make sure that I plug that in there, and I'm going to show you the video as well as how that would look like. Cool. All right, guys, so that's going to be a wrap for the actual setup. I showed you guys brightness, lights, that's a big deal. I showed you guys the manual settings on both your phone. If you guys don't have a camera yet, but if you guys own a DSLR camera and you guys already have a Canon R100, you can start using your Canon R100 right away with some of the build that I have going on right here as far as my rig goes. I'm going to jump into a video where I'm going to jump into the detail of how do you hook everything up and give you guys links so you guys are not lost when you guys are visiting Amazon to buy these parts. If you guys have questions during this specific class right here, I want you to place your questions in the comments so that I can come into the comments section and answer your questions as best as possible. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Now it's on to the next class. Peace. All right, let's dive right into it. Black backdrop, and these are the current settings that I'm using. And I'm going to tell you that these are the kind of photos I see on Instagram very often, and it does not look good, all right? So here's the thing, is yes, this looks okay, but the backdrop is a little on the light black side. It's super black here, person here today. But here in this photo, you guys will see that it's not, right? And I look a little bit like there's not a lot of rich color to my face. I'm not really loving it. But I'm going to keep that photo because I was shooting photos like this for a few months. In fact, for a long time. But we're going to get better and better and better, okay? So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to play with our settings. If you guys are using TouchPics, LumaBooth, Snappic, booth.events, I don't know if I said that twice. Fact is, you always want to keep your ISO as low as possible so that your Canon R100 or your T6 or your T7 can use the best resolution and you can get the best quality, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bump up the power up here, and the reason why is because when you drop your ISO to get a beautiful professional photo, it's gonna not use artificial. It's not, basically what it's gonna do, it's not going to amplify the light signal. And so what means is you're gonna get a very clean photo, no grain, no noise, all right? And then for the shutter speed, I bumped it up all the way to 250. That's the max that we can leave it at. Because if we go past the 250 line, then you guys are gonna need something called hypersync. You're gonna need like more expensive flashes, and we don't want to do that. We want to work with what we got, so we're gonna leave it at 250. That way, if someone's moving and grooving and jiggling in the photo, the shutter speed set to 250, they won't come out blurry, which is something pretty cool. Okay, the aperture, usually I leave it at 7.1 at events. However, if you guys notice, there's a lot of groups and there's like 3 groups of people. forefront, middle, and the back, then what you guys want to do is you want to bump it up to like around 9. But 7.1 for me is a sweet spot. All right, so we're gonna leave that as is, and I'm gonna bump up the power right over here, and let's take another photo and see how this new photo comes out, baby. Now, what I did differently in this photo, guys, is the black looks way darker, which I am loving. I am popping up a little bit more as the subject, but I'm loving the actual resolution. The only thing that I am not loving is that it has a ton of detail. You can see some of my pores and some of my wrinkles, and my face still looks a little pale. It looks like an ugly color. Okay, just let's be honest. You don't want that for your guests. But so far we've improved. The background's much darker, so it looks richer, it looks nicer. I did one thing a little different this time around for this shot. What I did is, instead of being backed up here on the backdrop like this, super close, I stepped away anywhere from 2 to 3 feet behind, in front of the backdrop. You'll be okay. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Try to keep the people like just a few feet away from the backdrop. You don't want them glued to the backdrop. Now, the only time you would want them really close to the backdrop is if you had a white backdrop, because you want the white to be super white and you want them to be well lit as far as the subject too, right? So that's the only reason you would have them really close, is if it's a white backdrop and you want to have that white background, that black and white photo. All right, so we're gonna improve from every photo moving forward. So this photo is getting a little bitter, okay? I'm gonna say a little better, but it sounds like I said a little bitter. But I'm not a quitter. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be a #1 hitter, and we're gonna knock this one out the park. And I'm going to show you exactly how. So welcome to David's Hackaroo. So go to menu on your camera. We'll start off all the way in the beginning here. Most developers have told me, David, go ahead and leave it at S1. We want the photo to be a little bit smaller. We don't want the camera processing too much of those data points for those pixels. And then if you want to use your entire sensor on your crop sensor on your Canon R100, have it at 3.2, just like I have it right there. All right. Next thing you guys are going to do is you guys are going to come over to the second one. Metering mode, use partial metering. You guys can use spot metering, but I like partial metering. Reason why is because it's going to pick up primarily just the subject in the middle, and it's not going to try to overexpose and compensate for that dark black backdrop that we have in the background. So partial metering right here is going to be good for most events, almost every event. Most folks, since they got their camera, they've always left it on auto or standard. This is where things get really cool, because you can use portrait, landscape, fine detail, neutral, faithful, monochrome, and then you guys can see that your boy has customized a few settings. And this is the bonus here. These are my exact settings. This took me days and hours in different lighting conditions to nail it. So this is like the cheat code basically. So for my strength, I have it at 3. For my fineness, I have it at 1. For my threshold, I have it at 5. For my contrast, -2. And then for my saturation, I have it +1. That +1 on the saturation is going to give me that extra bump in color. So I'm going to go back, just make sure we are in our customized settings. Yes, we are, baby. All right, I'm going to close this. Mr.Professional is soft close. If you guys have Mr.Professional, you guys got the 2nd generation, just know that you can remove the button out of here, so you can just pull this out when you need to. I noticed some folks left it on there and they're like, how do you open it? That's how you open it. All right, so we're back on the scene. We're going to take another photo, and we're going to pay close attention to see how this photo looks like, baby. Very, very nice. Now, look at the difference, how we went from the very first photo to this photo. You can see the brown in my eyes. Yes, there's details in my face, but it's not crazy detail where you guys can see my fine lines and my crow's feet and my pores. Yes, I broke out a little bit, but that's okay, because, I've been going through it. So this right here, ladies and gents, how you get a super sweet, nice looking photo. All right. Now, say for example, you guys have a client, right? And the client wants the black and white photo. You get the clients that will say, like, we want a black backdrop, but we want our guests to have a black and white photo. This is what you would do. You can leave the settings the same. The only thing that we're going to do is, because we have a black backdrop, we're going to continue to vibe out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crank this up, and I'm probably going to try it right here. 1/2. That's a lot of power. I'm going to go to photo, and take the photo. And yes, I'm going to come out a little overexposed, but what we're trying to do here now is this. When I come all the way to punchy right here, you'll see that the photo came out pretty good. Yes, the black could have came out just a little bit darker, and all we would need to do is just reduce this by a little bit, like half, like that. And we can even take the photo again, just see if you guys can eyeball it and see like there's a slight difference. There. Wow, these photos are coming out really amazing. So yeah, so I'm a little bit happier with this second photo, but it doesn't stop there, okay? You guys wanted a cool course? Well, we just leveled up like 3 times. We're gonna level up some more. So now we're gonna turn this on right here. And I'm gonna have it angled coming down just a little bit like this. Like that. So your people will be standing in front of the backdrop, and you want your actual photo booth to be at least 9 to 10 feet away from the backdrop so that there's enough space here in the middle. All right. Now, as far as the power, we are currently at 1/64. That's not a lot of power. It's almost the actual minimum. We're going to go ahead and take that photo. We're going to go ahead and drop this a little bit. We don't want it to be overexposed. All right. So we'll go here and we'll take the photo, and we'll see how our photo comes out when we add a secondary flash. Now, clearly this photo has a lot of light. It's nearly close to being overexposed. However, it did come out extremely beautiful. There's a ton of color going on. There's a ton of details going on. You can see the corduroy details, those fine lines. Now, those are some of the settings on the camera. So when we switch the strength, the threshold, and the fineness, all those play a factor into all of this details that you guys see. But I gave you guys a cheat code so you guys wouldn't have to do this and do that and come back, and oh my goodness, guys, trust me, it was a headache, but it was totally worth it because now I have some of the dopest photos. So that last photo I took, I can personally say I think it's a tad bit overexposed for my liking. So I'm going to reduce it and take one last photo here with you guys. All right, this could be the last photo that we take here. Right, so you can actually see the light here from the side, and then you'll notice the shadows here on this other side. But nonetheless, I think the photo came out really good. And the cool thing about this is that we didn't even have to go into the glam filter or anything. We could use the glam filter. I love booth.events glam filter, but there you go, guys. Now you have the cheat code when it comes to capturing both great GIFs and photos. Now, I want to touch base on something really quick. What did we learn? Well, we learned that we can definitely use a secondary flash if we need to. And quite honestly, I recommend you guys try it. It looks really good, especially when it's better looking people than me, you know. And then another thing, guys, remember, is you want to keep your subjects, you know, at least 3 feet away from the backdrop. You want to make sure that your flash is coming down at this angle so it focuses on the subjects. And also, guys, remember, create space between your photo booth and your backdrop. What's most important to know is like I said, every software is going to have their specific type of settings. Here's the settings that I was using. I was using color temperature for the white balance. You guys learned about aperture. The more the people, the larger the group, the larger the aperture number should be. If you guys were at an event where it was just couples, people were just taking portrait photos, then you guys can actually bump this low all the way to 4.5, 1.1, whatever aperture you have on your camera. But for the most part, most parties are going to have couples and groups. And so you definitely want to start off at 7.1 just to make sure almost everyone should be in actual focus given the 7.1. If you notice that someone came out a little soft on the focus, maybe the person all the way in the back, maybe there were 4 rows to the back, then just increase the aperture number. But you're going to have to increase the power on the top as well, okay, on the flash. So yeah, guys, very cool. Now, go out there, tag me on your latest photo, but once you apply these actual settings, and show me like how much it's improved. Because like I said, man, I be scrolling through social media, Instagram, and some of y'all photos look wiggity, wiggity whack. All right, man. See you guys. Peace. All right, if you guys bought Mr. Professional, chances are you probably have some of these parts already. If you don't own Mr. Professional and you own a DSLR booth, or you have a mirrorless camera that you're using for your photo booth, this is the video you guys want to watch, because I'm going to dive into some of the things that I was showing you earlier in those masterclass videos, but I'm going to go piece by piece. And we're also going to dive into the 360 video pieces, accessories that I'm using. So let's get right into it. Okay, so you guys can order this piece right here separately. Now this piece comes together with this little piece that you guys see on the top. Because I wanted to make my life easier, what I ended up doing is I bought a quick release plate. These are little quick release plates. And I added the piece that was supposed to go on top of here. I put it on a quick release plate. And I'm going to show you why. Remember, it's about making our production and our lives much better. So what I can do is I can simply now grab this piece and put it in here like this. Swivel it, and it's locked in. I can do that. But if I want to go a step beyond, what I can do is this. I can add one of these right here, a ball head. And so it's going to give me a lot more freedom when it comes to how I want to angle it. Okay, so now I have this set up right here. And what I can do next is I can grab that piece from earlier, and I can place this piece. We're really playing Legos right here, right in here like this. Okay. Now the next thing I did is, so you guys will notice that when you guys buy the Godox CT16, it comes with two of these, and it comes with this little bad boy right here, which is an actual trigger right there that goes on your Canon R100 or whatever camera you are actually using. It goes right on the top. So this bad boy, all you have to do is program it with this. Now this right here, you're gonna see that there are those little, I call them channels, right? So those channels have to match the channels on this one right here. And the channels for this one are gonna be right there in the bottom, okay? So what I ended up doing was this, and I know I'm a brainiac when it comes to this, and I absolutely love to do these types of things. So what I ended up doing is I took this part right here, then I took the bottom of this part just like it is, right there. And look how I slid it in. I slid it in here in this inside, and then I tighten it like this. All right, so now it's like this. And there's a hot shoe right here. So this is exactly where the V1C is gonna go inside of this hot shoe, right in here, look, like this. Make sure that out of these right here, the fifth one goes in first. So you want the fifth one to go in there first, and it'll lock, and then you'll lock it into place again, like that. You hear it click. So now this is actually gonna help this actual trigger go off, because this is connected to this via hot shoe. And so since that's the case, what I can do now is I can turn this on, and then what I'll do is I'll turn this on, because this one has a power on and off. So I'm going to turn this on, and my camera is not even on, but if I press this button right here, this flash right here, this little button, you can barely see it at an angle. I'm going to press it, and this is going to blind you guys. You ready? Look at it. See that? Do it again. Boosh. And so when this goes off, say it's connected to the Godox MS300 that's on top of Mr. Professional or your DSLR booth, that's gonna go off, but because it's also connected to this one's gonna go off. So this is my secondary flash. You don't have to do anything fancy in the settings, because remember, it's connected to this hot shoe right here. All right, so this is how you would have to connect everything together if you want to use a secondary flash, which I recommend if you guys want to take photography to a different level and really have the clients amazed at your setup and the overall end result, okay? And like I said earlier, guys, you can actually use this and put an umbrella through here, right? And cause like a diffuser, but I don't use it that way. I wanted to hit the subjects from a distance, and I wanted a bit direct light so it doesn't spill all over the place. I'd rather just being focused on those folks, like kind of like on the back end, so they can get this part of their shoulders lit up or the side of their face. So this is that simple. This is exactly what I'm doing for the photo booth side. Now, I'm gonna set this aside, and then we're gonna dive into now the actual 360 video. There's a few cool things going on here, okay? So for the 360 video, I'll take this off. I'm using a Canon R100, and I'm using a 24 to 50 lens. Now this 24 to 50 lens is probably a lens that you already own, and this is what's really nice is that I'm working with what I got. I use this for my Mr. Professional photo booths. I have these inside all of my booths, the exact same setup, a Canon R100 stacked with a 24-50 lens. I like this lens, guys. Why? Because look it has image stabilization, okay? So because it has image stabilization, this is exactly what you want, so you guys can get videos that are gonna be a little bit smoother than if you didn't have the image stabilization. And then on top of that, if you guys noticed, I had my camera on top of this that allowed me to rotate really easily, okay? So I'm gonna set this, anything that you guys are seeing here, I'm gonna place links to this. Now the reason I ended up using this is because I want this to swivel as easy as possible, okay? So for example, say you use, I put a quick, everything that I own, guys, all the mice have quick release plates. I just wanna grab and go, snap on, snap off. You'll see that everything I'm showing you guys has quick release plates. And also it minimizes the wear and tear. Look, I'm gonna go ahead and connect this like this, right? This part right here goes on the actual 360 arm like this. So that's basically it. And if you guys wanna go ahead and go into landscape mode, then all you do is you take this bad boy right here, you loosen it, and then it goes like this, look, boom, and then boom. Depends how you guys wanna lock it. The cable that you guys seen that I was using earlier is this cable right here. This is a good cable because it has 40 gigabytes per second, 240 watts, and all I do is connect it into the USB hub right in here. There's a USB hub right there. Plug that in, USB Type C. I said hub for no reason. And then this other end goes connected to your iPhone 14, 15, 16. And now they're communicating with one another, okay? You guys seen a few other gadgets now. Look it. So for example, on your 360 arm, there's gonna be a 1/4 inch in which you can use a Ulanzi, an aftermarket one, and then just swivel it in, okay? So it's swiveled in and now it's, boom, it's stuck. It's great. I'm using an Ulanzi. But this Ulanzi, what I like about it is unique because it has a cold shoe mount in which you can add an extra plate right here. And so for me, my setup looks a little something like this. Again, quick release plates on everything. What I'll do is I'll go like this, and now my camera's connected, just like that. Okay, just like that. And say the event is over, well, okay, cool. I'll pull out my camera, put it in the box, and good to go. And this stays on the 360 video arm the entire time. If I need to swivel or angle it, just use this right here. And now move it all the way around, okay? And then just boom, keep it in place. But it doesn't stop there. So I'm using an iPhone 15, and I'm also using an iPhone 16. Now this right here is pretty amazing because just like this right here has space for this, I'll just go in here and I'll connect these together like this, and then I'll fasten it like that. See that? And now what I can easily do is I can grab a phone and it goes connected to this. So for example, I have my phone 16 that I use for events. I just slap it on there like that, okay? And you guys can angle it however you guys want. This rather is heaven for me because it's like I just slide it out, boom. Now, if you guys want something a little bit more stable, well, you can pop these out and then put the phone in there like that. But for me, like I said, guys, it's all about speed. Like, let's go, let's get it spinning, let's keep going, let's keep it going. Because sometimes the line is long and you just want to keep going as fast as you can. So that'll be the setup. All right, let's say if you guys decide to just use a phone, you just want to use your iPhone, you're not going to be using a DSLR camera for your 360 video booth productions. That's okay, I did that for a lot of years. And so the setup is almost identical. Okay, remember this, my arm is a 360 arm. Okay, let's pretend my arm is a 360 arm and I'm using a cage, again, with the quick release plate right here. So all I do now is go show up to the event and boom, it's set, okay? Now all I have to do now is get my phone, put it in here, Good to go. Now, if I want to add a charger because the event's going to be like, say, over 3 hours, then I'll go ahead and put my charger right in there. I'll take the cable from the charger and connect it to the phone like this. Now I have my, see that, my charger connected to my phone. My phone's getting charged and it works out pretty well. If you want to get fancy, you guys can add lights to your cage. I'm trying not to do that anymore. I'm trying to minimize the weight on the 360 video arm. So that is pretty much it. Everything that I showed you guys, I will place links because remember, it's all about making the list and life for you a little bit better. And I've ordered different ones that I shipped back to Amazon, but this one right here was a keeper because as you guys can see, the simplicity of just getting the phone and just putting it right in there, okay? And if you guys are probably asking like, will it stay stuck even when the arm is spinning? Yes, it'll stay on there as arm spinning. Trust me, I've tested it plenty of times. All right, I admit it, I forgot. The Ulanzi lights, okay guys, 40-watt Ulanzi lights using an aftermarket ball head. I love this ball head. You can swivel it around, do all kinds of neat stuff. And pause it there. I can go ahead and get ready and leave, or as soon as I'm getting to the event, my photo booth director or I will go ahead and just slide that in, fasten it. There it is, good to go. If I want to pivot it this way instead of moving the entire tripod, I could just do this and then tighten it once more like that. So if we are ready to go and take some action, you can guys order the parts that you guys are missing and you can start, you know, troubleshooting and getting great at what you do so that you guys can stand out. I hope this video helps. If you guys have questions, place your questions in the comment box so that I can come back and I can answer those questions. That way everyone can see the answer to your question. All right, guys, thank you so much. And I look forward to your brand new dope looking photos and 360 videos. Peace.